Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the Bombay Chamber of Commerce and Industry, I, Utkarsh Joshi, would like to extend a warm welcome to one and all. The topic for today's conclave is Blocks to Billions Advancing India's Real Estate Future. Real estate is the backbone of India's economic development, serving as a catalyst for infrastructure growth, urbanization, and wealth creation. With the emergence of REITs and asset tokenization, the sector is entering a new era of transparency, liquidity, and accessibility. By bridging traditional property markets with cutting-edge financial innovation, these instruments are unlocking opportunities for investors, developers, and institutions alike, ensuring efficient capital flow and democratized privatization. This journey requires addressing challenges around regulatory clarity, investor awareness, technological adoption, and global competitiveness, while fostering sustainable practices and resilient market structures. With this background, Bombay Chamber is organizing the REITs and Asset Tokenization Conclave 2026, Blocks to Billions Advancing India's Real Estate Market. This brings together thought leaders, policymakers, and industry pioneers to deliberate on the opportunities and roadblocks that will shape the next chapter of India's real estate growth story. I would like to welcome Sandeep Khosla, Director General Bombay Chamber, to deliver the welcome address for today's conclave.
Thanks, Utkarsh. I'll just like to show you a small video of the chamber as to what we do, and then welcome all of you formally after that. Can you please play the video?
Established in 1836, Bombay Chamber is a legacy institution created by 7 British pioneers and 3 Parsis. Starting with John Skinner, the founder and first chairman of the Chamber, and Narayan Dandekar, our first Indian president, the Chamber has been shaped by exemplary leadership from esteemed multinational organizations. The Bombay Chamber has spearheaded Mumbai's transformation, pioneering milestones like India's first railway line, 1853, the India Postage Act, 1854, trade standardization, arbitration systems, and has initiated cultural events like the Kala Goda Festival. Over the years, the Chamber has organized conclaves, webinars, seminars on various trending topics. Our flagship Shipping Conclave is a highly anticipated industry event that brings together key stakeholders, including representatives from the ministry. The Chamber's DEI Awards has become an industry benchmark for excellence in diversity and inclusion. Our signature events, including AgriCorp, bring together agriculture stakeholders, while others focus on mutual funds, insurance, banking, sustainability, CSR, governance, and HR. Through the Young Bombay Forum's Thought Leadership Series, industry luminaries share their journeys, inspiring the next generation of business leaders. The Chamber's Foundation Day and AGM feature distinguished speakers. Through its events, the Chamber has helped handhold its vast MSME membership base in their corporate journeys. The Chamber also makes various representations to the government, including pre- and post-budget memorandums. The Chamber hosts trade delegations from various countries and meets with consul generals from different consulates to discuss collaborations. The Chamber also works on international projects with multilateral agencies. To prepare and groom future leadership, the Chamber conducts mentoring and training programs and also offers platforms for venture capitalists, angel investors and startups to meet and connect. Industrial site visits are another avenue for showcasing industry best practices in sustainability and CSR. The Chamber's centrally located office premises also offers a high-tech, well-equipped conference along with office cubicles and workstation facilities available on lease. The Chamber's publications, including the annual Economic Outlook and Sustainability Surveys, the bi-monthly Bombay Chamber Connect, and its innovative themed desk calendar, are eagerly awaited each year. The Chamber also offers services like Certificate of Origin, Labour Advisory Services, Arbitration and Mediation and Visa Recommendation Letters for members. As we move towards a Viksit Bharat by 2047, the Chamber will continue to be a beacon of light for the industry.
Right, so just a small glimpse of what the Chamber does. On 19th of December last year, we celebrated our 190th Foundation Day. And as we start moving towards the last decade of this century, the world is changing very, very fast. 10 years, 15 years back, nobody thought of generative AI. Today, we had a full session from morning till afternoon on AI in HR and how it's going to impact various companies. The Chamber is at the forefront of whatever changes happen, right from the first slide showed that in 1856, we were instrumental in getting railways to India. And if you go to the museum in Delhi, Railway Museum, there's a plaque which thanks the Bombay Chamber. Till 1976, the Chamber had a permanent seat in Mumbai Port Trust. And, we work very closely with Navy. We recently did a big shipping conclave. We also last week had a big interaction with the Navy. They invited Bombay Chamber leadership. So around 35 of us went there, where they spoke to us as to how the industry can work with them in making Atmanirbhar Navy, and how the industry can look at their demands and fulfill them. So anything which is new, the Chamber is always at the forefront. D&I for us is a very, very important subject. Last year when Mr. Rao told us that SME REITs is something which the Chamber should look at, we wholeheartedly supported that. We had the first small interaction in our office at Ruby, and subsequently it's the fourth iteration of SME REITs which we're doing. And as it picks up, I think we would want to be a part of this change as well. Our chairman of our PVC committee, Ashit Kampani, is here, who's been driving this for all of us. Sandeep Parekh is here, Ritvik is here. Tejas has not come, so these are the people who, advise the Chamber as to what are the newer topics we should take as far as this particular area is concerned. Welcome to all of you for this fourth iteration of SME REITs, and hopefully this will grow to a level which all of us at the Chamber would be very, very proud to say that we were the first ones to take up this subject, and as we go along, I think sky's the limit here. So without any further delay, I would like to hand it back to Utkarsh. Thank you all for being here and hoping to have an interesting session today.
Thank you so much, sir. I would like to welcome Shaan Zaveri, partner Terazo, who will set the theme for today's event.
Shaan Zaveri, I'm from Terazo. I'm joined by my two colleagues, Gaurav and Anadya. Thank you, Bombay Chamber of Commerce, for having us, distinguished speakers, guests, friends. Our business model is to try and do things, exciting things, and with that, I'll set the theme with this video.
Tokenization.
Tokenization. Tokenization.
Tokenization.
Tokenization. You've heard this term. That's the future of finance. What I could say is I'm bullish. It's just the real fact of it.
If you think about what tokenization is, it's essentially upgrading the ledger where capital markets run to technology that is public, distributed, cryptographically secured, etc., which will improve how people transact with securities.
Tokenization is like a freight train. It can't be stopped, and eventually it's going to eat the entire financial system.
We've always been using technology to do a better job for the client, and we're going to do the same thing in tokenization.
We believe the next step going forward will be the tokenization of financial assets.
Tokenization is an innovation, and we at the SEC should be focused on how do we advance innovation in the marketplace.
Think about what that means. A complete rewiring of the financial system.
Tokenization is possible only when you're looking at technology infusion into financial activities. Even at the time of conceptualizing GIFT City, the Honorable Prime Minister has had the vision that this fusion today gives us a lead advantage.
You can actually tokenize your assets, and we will be working with the regulators, we'll be working with the innovators, and we'll also be working with the startups.
भारत देश में आज एक टोकनाइजेशन बिल लाने की आवश्यकता है.
The RBI's approach signals a clear direction, supporting blockchain-based efficiency and tokenization.
We believe that tokenization of land assets using a proper ledger and so on can unlock Indian use case.
An ordinary individual who doesn't have the affordability can become a part owner of a high-valued asset. That is what blockchain will facilitate. That is what tokenization will facilitate.
So folks, we feel that finance in its traditional form needs reimagining, and we feel that tokenization, REITs, SM REITs, these are all novel ways of trying to reimagine how people participate in private assets, particularly illiquid assets like real estate, venture capital, private equity. These are ripe for disruption, and we feel that tokenization, we are one of the first companies in India to be working on tokenization, and we chose a path where we said we will first tackle regulation and only do things which are part of the regulatory framework. So that's how our company Terazo came to be. We are from Ahmedabad and GIFT City, and our background is in real estate, so I have a small presentation. So our company is Terazo. I've been doing real estate for 30 years, and our business model has been equity funded real estate. So we came to tokenization with a problem statement that we ourselves were facing, and we said, is there a novel way of financing these kind of hard to access assets such as real estate? As you might imagine, one of the biggest challenges in real estate is raising and managing capital. So we were looking for a solution which was compliant, inclusive, transparent, and frictionless. And then we stumbled upon something called asset tokenization. So for those who don't know, what is tokenization? It really involves representing fractional ownership of real world assets, such as real estate, private equity, art, or any other hard asset, or usually in a digital format on a blockchain. So that is tokenization. People always ask, what is it? What is tokenization and how does it work? So typically you take an asset in any form and you securitize it is one way of doing it. This is the way we have chosen. There's not only one way to do it, but we've picked a path which we feel aligns well with India's existing regulatory framework, and so this is how we are doing it. So you take the asset, you securitize it. Securitizing it means you put it in an entity. It could be a private limited company, LLP, or some other form, or trust for that matter. You fractionalize interest in that entity, and then you tokenize it. By tokenizing it means that you fractionalize those units if it's a fund on a blockchain. What can be tokenized? Frankly, any investment grade asset which needs management and safekeeping is our feeling. It's asset agnostic. It can be real estate, unlisted equity, PE, VC funds, debt instruments, carbon credits. It could even have collectibles, precious metals. So any asset typically can be tokenized. A lot of people ask, is this only theory or is this a reality? So for us, this has been a reality. The next question always is, but what about regulation? So our company Terazo is regulated under the regulatory sandbox provisions of IFSCA and GIFT City. And can this work in India? Yes, it can work in India. It's already live in India, the way we are doing it. What we've tokenized is one of our projects. It's called Oryx. It's in GIFT City. We chose a project in GIFT City because we wanted to, we're based in GIFT City and we wanted to use a landmark destination to tokenize one of our assets. So this building is under construction in GIFT City. We are also building a platform for tokenized assets. This is our platform. This is just a screenshot of our investor portal. Typically, people also want to know what is the process of tokenization. Typically, you have origination where you identify assets, you raise capital, then you issue the tokens. You need to distribute them through distribution channels. We go through all typical safety mechanisms such as KYC, AMLs, CFT, politically exposed people, net worth criteria. So while this uses modern technology, it also ensures that all the safety parameters that are in traditional finance are also followed. So we are not replacing the safety mechanisms of traditional finance by tokenizing. We are just trying to modernize the method by which you participate, keeping all the safety parameters in check. There are other options available. There are REITs, fractional platforms, SM REITs now, and their tokenized platforms. All have their pros and cons. I don't think one size fits all. There is excellent use case for REITs already in India. We've got a healthy market of high quality assets. Unfortunately, the average developer may not be able to meet the size and compliance requirements, so it may not be for everyone, but it works very well for the largest and the most reputed players. Fractional platforms, on the other hand, are more accessible to smaller investors and deal with other assets. And tokenized platforms will become one more avenue for people to participate. So from our perspective, there is no one right way of doing this. There are multiple ways and different things will work for different people. We are trying to use technology really to solve many of the problems that traditionally exist in traditional finance. If you're an asset manager, what are your biggest problems? Really, it's finding money, project equity usually. You want to access global investors typically. You want to cater to as many people as you can with small tickets. You certainly don't want the whole management of your investor pool and compliance to be complicated, so you would like automated management. And of course, if you're a regulated entity, it's your responsibility to be fully compliant. We believe that tokenization really helps you do this very well. Now, interestingly, what do investors want? Investors want investments in bite-sized opportunities. They also want investment in private assets, things which are not easily accessible. Often they want early entry into investment opportunities which are only accessible by very large investors, family offices, institutional investors. People want access to these. They want access to global opportunities because eventually diversification also means diversifying outside, investing outside of your geography. Particularly in private assets, people want some kind of flexibility, liquidity to make sure that they don't get stuck. And when you deal with private assets, people also want some kind of price discovery. So these are the problems, and we believe that tokenization solves them very well. in terms of what Terazo does, we operate under the IFSCA's regulatory sandbox. So GIFT IFSC is one of the first jurisdictions globally to enable regulated tokenization pilots. We started 3.5 years ago, setting really regulatory precedent. So while we see other jurisdictions working on this globally, GIFT IFSC has been one of the first in the world to enable pilots which have already gone live. And we feel that this progressive policy stance will really position India as a global leader. We believe that the domestic regulator, SEBI, will also, at the right time, come up with the right regulations to make tokenization possible with all the safeguards and checks, is how we see this happening. And with this, we have another short video, which is a little buzz on. So we are very excited with the possibility of tokenization. We feel that this will unlock huge amounts of illiquid assets. Mr. Nilekani has been working tirelessly with the Finternet project. The first video that you saw were some of the largest names including BlackRock, Jamie Dimon, JP Morgan. Some of the largest players in the world are working on tokenization. So we feel that this is not a question of if, it's only a question of when. This comes as a wave that disrupts traditional finance. We, on the other hand, are trying to work in a way that we work alongside traditional finance. We feel that this will be a great complementary mode of participation for private assets. We have one of the best stock markets in the world where we have great depth, a lot of participation. We would love to see initially participation in private assets with high net worth individuals, investors who can understand the risk reward scenario, and then moving on over a period of time once regulations come in and with all the safety features and checks and balances to make them available to a larger audience. So this is what we're working on, and we again, on behalf of Terazo, I'd really like to thank you for giving us the opportunity to be part of this very prestigious event. And I can see this timer is just coming to an end, so I'll end now and then we'll catch up again a little later in the program. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. It is our privilege to have Mr. Rajesh Bansal, former CEO, Reserve Bank Innovation Hub, to deliver the keynote address. Over 3 decades, Mr. Rajesh Bansal led and scaled some of the world's most consequential digital public infrastructure systems, transforming how hundreds of millions access industry, payment systems, and credit. His work spans digital identity, interoperable payments, AI-driven fraud intelligence, open finance, and central bank digital currency frameworks with global relevance across mature, emerging, and frontier markets. As the founding CEO of the Reserve Bank Innovation Hub, Mr. Bansal built the organization from ground up and steered high-impact platforms such as the Unified Lending Interface, a next-generation digital credit infrastructure, and one of the earliest nation-scale AI models for advanced fraud detection. These systems are now reference points for the regulators, multilaterals, and financial innovation agencies globally. Earlier, as part of the founding leadership team of UIDAI, Sir played a central role in architecting the key layers of the world's largest digital identity and interoperable payments ecosystem, including the Aadhaar Payments Bridge, AEBS biometric payments, and global standard digital KYC rails that enabled billions of fully digital authentications. These platforms are frequently cited in global research and adopted as models for digital transformation in multiple countries. Sir is joining us virtually through a Zoom call. May I now request Mr. Bansal to kindly deliver the keynote address?
I hope, Utkarsh, you can hear me and see me clearly.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay. So, very good afternoon, everyone. It's an honor and a privilege to speak at a chamber which is 190 years old. I've spoken at multiple chambers, but never had this opportunity and the honor. So, thank you, everyone, for inviting me and Mr. Ashish Kampani, who was like very diligently following up. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it because I had a small injury in my foot, too much of Holi, So, but thank you for being there. So, fact that Mr. Zaveri and has already explained in detail, and also the Director General, on what tokenization is. I would like to spend next 15 minutes, the time allocated to me, to speak on, the potential of tokenization as well as REITs, and what could we potentially do as an ecosystem players, what we should do to make it a success. Yeah. So as we all know, the speakers before me spoke about we are at an obviously inflection point in India's financial history. And just as the demat revolution transformed how Indians access equity markets, we are now witnessing the dawn of a similar transformation in real estate investment. What numbers have already been spoken? That obviously India's real estate currently contributes approximately 7.3% to our GDP and contribute 13% in the next decade. One of the interesting statistics I remember when I was studying in US, I had come across was the number of sectors that are dependent on real estate. I remember a colleague of mine used to work in it. It was about 20 years back. And then I did some homework to check in India. And to my surprise, there are 250 sectors which are impacted by growth of real estate. I might be wrong, you are the experts, but this is what my research showed. And obviously, when we are looking at Viksit Bharat, the sector is expected to contribute 15%. you realize this isn't a growth, this is a transformation, whether it is construction sector growth, office sector leasing, or housing sales. I'll just go into, go back to the demat revolution. I come from an era, and I'm sure my white hair shows that, where while in college I used to take my demat, a pre-demat era, I would take my physical shares and sell them to the broker through the broker. I've been in the at Delhi Stock Exchange to see how it works because a friend of mine was very keen to show me. And from there, today, let's forget the what is happening in the markets today or last 2 weeks. The demat revolution has actually, it's a lesson. So I want to just go through it. I'm sure all of you know. From 2.3 crore demat accounts to 19 crore demat accounts, 8x increase. And imagine this has been possible because of the fact that India has enables unique opportunities. As Utkarsh introduced me, the fact that India is one of the rarest countries which offers digital infrastructure, which includes seamless paperless account opening. I remember when in 2013 we got approval from SEBI, RBI, and PMLA under PMLA for eKYC, which I was driving. That has changed the game in demat accounts. Now you can get an instant demat account, you can get an instant bank account, instant insurance, and that is what has happened for mutual funds. I remember having meetings with Mr. UK Sinha, and he obviously realized the potential of how this can lead to more financialization. So that is one. Obviously, SEBI has played an important role ensuring investor protection, zero entry barriers in mutual funds. Somebody can invest 500 rupees. I again will go back to there was a time in college when I didn't have money and was learning the basics of the stock market. And this friend of mine who took me to Delhi Stock Exchange told me, doesn't matter, just save up 1,000 rupees from your pocket money and that will be good. I'm like, are you crazy? 1,000 rupees to buy a stock of, let's say, an Infosys, but that is a reality, right? And obviously growing awareness and technology, which this is a underlying mega trend, smartphone penetration and fintech platforms. We understand that if you make it easy, somebody mentioned the term which I love is frictionless for consumers. If you make it frictionless, we love it, whether it is UPI or whether it is Aadhaar adoption, whether it is eKYC. And as you are aware that the number of the unique investors in mutual funds are currently at 50 million plus unique investors. Tier 2 and Tier 3 now account for 35% of new SIP registrations. And I was speaking to Zerodha and Grow founders. They openly told me that there would have been no Grow or a Zerodha if there was no Aadhaar. Sorry for my obsession, but that's a foundational layer. So that is how it is happening. And when at Reserve Bank Innovation Hub, I had 50% of team who was Gen Z, and they are a different lot. They want to invest into financial assets right from the time they get their first paycheck. And as we are aware that a BCG report shows that 1 in 2 rupees will be spent by the Gen Z by 2035. So obviously there is a 100x success story. Can we repeat that in REITs? Absolutely. And I'm excited to see the good changes that have happened in the last few years in terms of ecosystem. Terazo, Mr. Zaveri mentioned what they are doing in the regulatory sandbox. So we can make it happen. I'll not go into numbers on that. I have those, but the challenge is that we have only a small percentage of the current REIT ready office space which is being put up in the 5 to 7 companies that are listed. But what is the potential? the potential is that I would love to, I'm honest, I would love to own a piece of property in Nepean Sea Road. I remember as a teenager when I visited Mumbai and went to Nepean Sea Road, I'm like, seriously? Can I ever own it? No, I don't. I can't afford it today. But can I own a small piece of it the way I own, shares of $1 billion companies? Yes, REITs make that possible. But some of the, suggestions which I'm sure the regulators and the ecosystem is already working on is we are talking about the SPV is where the property is maintained. But my suggestion is that can we look at a depository system which ensures more transparency rather than a SPV of the entity which is running the REIT to have that? How? Well, it's like, expecting Reliance to have a demat, Infosys to have a demat, every Tata Steel to have a demat. Fact is, tokenization, one of the most important things is NSDL, CDSL kind of repositories. And I'm sure some of you will share that you have lived it. Instead of my carrying a share certificate, I knew that I can just transact. I remember that when DMAT started, I was a late joiner. First time, it was about 20 years back, I think 25 years back, I tried one transaction and I couldn't believe that it has happened. And I'll be honest here, I was like, how do I know the share is in my account? And I realized it's all transparent. So, transparency in ownership, obviously, ease of transfer and liquidity, investor protection, which is very, very critical. The fact that over the last 2 decades, 2.5 decades, SEBI has worked on investor protection guideline to ensure mutual funds, and RBI has worked on other guidelines to ensure that there is transparency and investor knows what is happening. I know it might be difficult for us to do a real-time portfolio tracking, end-of-day tracking like mutual funds, but could we potentially do that? I am not sure. Next, some of you will recollect that earlier there was a lot of mis-selling in terms of which is a high risk mutual fund, a medium risk mutual fund, and a low risk mutual fund. Ever since SEBI introduced the riskometer, it really makes it easier. A simple visual tool that shows everyone that, this is the, if your risk appetite is high, you may go in for a high risk. But if you are somebody who wants a low risk, you can go in for a low risk mutual fund. My suggestion is we need the same for REITs as an ecosystem. We also need some other suggestions that I have is in property index. There are some property indexes, but how do I know what is the price of, transparently, what is the price of the property that I've always wished to acquire in Nepean Sea Road? A very transparent way to show what the property index is. Then obviously the occupancy, if I am an investor in REIT, do I have complete transparency on what is the occupancy risk, the tenant concentration risk, the geographical concentration? The way I can click in a mutual fund and obviously know what are the, there is a mandate that on a monthly basis I have to be told. So all of those. Now I have few other suggestions, but already I think the Director General showed a picture, showed a film about what Larry Fink of BlackRock CEO says. The major revolution in market infrastructure is tokenization. And it's not something which might happen, but there is no going back. It will happen, and IFSCA has already, GIFT City has already started this. So I'll just close. I'm looking at the watch. I'll just close in the next few minutes. Okay, can we potentially have property titles on DigiLocker so that it becomes very, very easy? And through a DigiLocker kind of a mechanism, I know DigiLocker is one step lower in technology when it comes to tokenization, but it could be a small beginning that once I have my land records and I can potentially put it up, I own a property in Noida, and can I put it up in a REIT? Maybe yes. That's what we should look at, given the fact that we are a country of 270 million households and the house ownership gradually increasing. Obviously, the same with commercial estate, real estate. That will mean that I will know exactly what I own and what I can, do. The other suggestion I have is from a can we potentially look at take some global best examples and move to a professionally driven, manager driven ecosystem rather than an SPV ecosystem, which is currently what is in place that gives the consumers the right comfort, gives the regulators and the government the right comfort, and that is what is possible. I don't have many other suggestions. Obviously, there has to be product innovation the way mutual funds have gone for it. I might be overemphasizing on mutual funds, but I, given a 30 years of experience, can't find a better example in terms of product innovation, regulatory innovation, and transparency, consumer protection. So by 2030, we can potentially have, I would say 75% of real estate, at least commercial real estate, and 100x growth, which is possible once we ensure that we have the right product mix. Tokenization and blockchain is obviously going to happen. It's not an option, it will happen. And regulatory sandbox of IFSCA is also there. So I will just say that obviously it's an opportunity and we will realize it when a young software engineer in Bangalore can invest 5,000 rupees monthly in a diversified REIT. A Rajesh Bansal can potentially own a small piece of the Nepean Sea, house, and a farmer in Punjab can potentially, who has been dreaming, who has made some money, he or she can also, if they want to own a piece of property in Chandigarh, that is when we'll know we have succeeded. With this, I'll stop. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for such an illuminating address.